Hey everyone, welcome to today's analysis for Wednesday, September 17th. So I'm getting this one out a little bit later, but I didn't get a chance to do this earlier. Um, News-wise, obviously today we had FOMC as we're going to see the chart pretty much the 2 to 4 o'clock, the last 2 hours of the session were pretty crazy and volatile. Tomorrow we still have one last news, 8:30 a.m. unemployment claims. Okay, going on the weekly, you can see overall still hanging there. This is the candle for Thursday, which is actually starting out very bullishly. This was FOMC. We had a big flush to the downside that got bought up towards the end of the session, and now Asia is starting to print a very bullish session. You can see we're almost already back to all-time highs here. If we go, let's just go straight into the 1 hour chart. So levels that we were looking at, and again, these levels I added this hourly level, but pretty much these hourly levels were the same that we had yesterday. And you can see here, days like today, big news events are characterized a lot by just flushing levels and then recovering. And you can see right here, we have this big high volume node. This 66.43 has been a huge hourly level. This was the lows of Monday that we had, and also big support on Friday. And you can see how on this 2 o'clock candle in FOMC, we flushed all the way down. We hit the daily swing level. Actually, I already deleted it, but remember, we were looking at this swing as a target to the downside, and we pushed right down around that area. We did come a little bit lower, but overall that level was this one right here. We hit that. We hit the hourly level 66.19 below into the top edge of this node, and then we close back in. And then as soon as we close the 2 o'clock candle, you can see the 3 o'clock candle opens, retested this bottom edge and this hourly level, and immediately started a huge move up. So cases like this failed breakdowns. In this case, it was the failed breakdown of the bottom edge of this high volume node. We came all the way back down, left a wick, closed back above, and now we start respecting the support level again. Coming up here, I mean, pretty much all we have is this little area of resistance where we are at now. Next target will obviously be all-time highs, which is 66.9675. Remember, we are already in the December contracts. Okay, and then from there, we got 6,700, pretty much right around here. Big round number, so obviously another level to keep track of right up there. But I will say now, pretty much this is the line in the sand now. 66.43, this bottom edge of this node, this is going to be the level now for bulls to defend into tomorrow and potentially even into next week. If we go to the weekly profiles, you can see this is the last week's high volume node range, and we flushed down below it, then came back above, and then we started respecting all those low volume node areas, and then we had the push right there at 3 o'clock. And then up here we have this big high volume node, resistance here. We did push up, but we rejected off of that level. Remember, I was talking about potentially an over-under pattern here. I was looking for that actually going into Wednesday. I thought on Wednesday we were going to push up here and then reject. But in the end, we just drifted down, and it was on right here. I'm sorry, on Wednesday Asia session. I was looking for a retest here, but we ended up coming into FOMC until 2 o'clock, and you can see just the two huge wicks on either side. But so far, we are now pushing up and holding very well. TPO pretty much cleared this poor low. We filled in this single prints. Only thing remaining is this poor low here at 65.92, but seems like that's not really, we're not going to look at that or get there anytime in the next few days. And then up, we have a poor high at the all-time high, which we made on an extended trading hour session on Monday into Tuesday. So Tuesday's candle basically. So this is now going to be again our immediate target to the upside. Tick chart. Overnight was a very small range. And then right here at the New York Open, you can see we pushed above the highs of the extended trading hours and into the hourly level and resistances from yesterday's high volume node area, rejected. And I actually just released a video today on YouTube talking about this setup. I like to always, when we see price that's going to open for New York near the highs of the extended trading hours, I like to look for a false break and a close back inside. And in this case, you can see overnight highs were here. And then right here, we poked through that level and then came right back inside. And we have the confluence that also we had heavy resistance from yesterday's session and the low volume node resistance area there as well. Drifted down and then pretty much, where was it? Right here, we had this big push up just like a minute before the FOMC announcement, which they did a 25 basis point cut, which is what everyone expected. And then we had the big flush down, a rebound again, and then Powell started speaking right here. And then we had the second flush down. And in this case, you can see the level we're talking about, 66.43, was support at the beginning of the session. Finally, at 237, we did breakthrough. Then it was resistance, came and we did this lows, and you can see some big selling down at the bottom wicks here. And then we came back, accepted and retested that level again into the 3 o'clock hour. And then we started the push back up. Here you can see we had a little channeling formation, and then we ended up the session there. So let's actually, I'm curious, let's go into the footprint and look at the lows that we made on the day there. So yeah, you can see very nice divergence candle at the low of day here. We didn't really get any like big volumes, which, let me check here. So yeah, we didn't get any like big volume highlights, but we can still see that we got a very nice divergence candle, negative delta, and we printed a bullish hammer. And then you can see right at the very bottom, big aggressive selling that then got trapped, and then that started the whole squeeze to the upside. And going into the 5 minutes, you can see, I mean, obviously just really unpredictable, choppy, volatile action with the FOMC. So usually I will avoid just trying to, take anything into these big news events until it has calmed down and cleared up a little bit. But so far you can see we're having a very bullish open to the Asia session. We started pushing all the way up. We ended up rejecting at first right at the bottom edge of this overnight session and into this previous area of support, now resistance, but then we started just drifting up, and you can see here holding the 21 EMA as well, and also we got back and held the VWAPs, and right now we're just consolidating here. So all-time high is very, very close now, and then above that the 6,700 level as well. Into NASDAQ weekly, you can see we're actually almost, we missed it by a few ticks. We almost just made a new all-time high in the Asia session here. So we got a new daily level, 24,553. I had this marked as an hourly level, but now after the formation of Wednesday's candle, now I'm going to make it into a daily because we now have a very clear area of resistance here for 3 days, and we broke through that level. So now this is going to be, the area to look for in case of pullbacks. And below that, we don't have the next daily until 24,285, which is actually was tested. This was a fresh resistance level because, as you can see, we broke out, but there had not been any immediate retest of this area here, this fair value gap, but we did fill it in and retest today. Going right into the 1 hour. This is all levels that we had marked off yesterday, and you can see the low of the wick from FOMC was exactly the 22,242 hourly level that I had marked here from last Friday. Thursday into Friday last week, huge area of support. You can see this little high volume node here into the bottom edge. Then we broke out, and then we came back, and this level that I had marked yesterday, 24,502, started giving resistance first on the FOMC announcement, but then overnight you can see that we have now managed to break through that whole area. We're actually above this area here. This was the hourly level that we made into a daily, 24,553. We're out of this node as well, and we're literally just a few points away below the all-time high. So here for me now, this obviously is the first area we're looking for a retest, but I think this is now the key area for bulls to hold. 24,502 for me is the key pivot level going into tomorrow, and this is where bulls really need to defend this area into all this previous support. Flush down, recovered, so any pushback here, look for supports in these areas. Weekly profiles. So you can see the push down on FOMC was exactly to the bottom edge to this low volume node support zone that we had from the lows of Friday and the exact low today from FOMC. And then here you can see we had the wick down on the 2 o'clock candle, but overall this area of resistance broken. We came back and we held that level, and then we pushed out of the top edge of this high volume node. Resistance, broken, support, and now pushing up into all-time highs. So going into tomorrow, pay attention to this high volume node range. If market comes down and have a strong close inside here, then I would potentially look for retracements to the low volume node resistance on top, and then possible move down into the lows down here and then into the very low of the profile. TPO, all we have is just a few single prints here from the overnight session, but those might get repaired fairly quickly going into the European. I would say the most significant would be this single print that we have here. So that will be a fill down into 24,534, which would be right around this area. So pretty much the singles you can see was from this impulsive move here at the open. Then the tick charts. Overnight session. Not really much going on. Small range. Remember, days and sessions before big news announcements will usually be pretty slow and low volume until that data hits. And you can see at the open, pretty much started pushing down right away. Cumulative delta was pretty in line, both of them. Then we had the pullback all the way into this previous swing high on the initial pullback at the open, failed, and then right into FOMC. So right into this candle, we had the FOMC, the push up, came back down, and you can see even in this volatility respecting the VWAP, up again, and then we did have the fail there. Then the pullback, Powell started speaking right at the high here, and then we started into the final flush move to the downside. And you can see this also gave some nice false breakdown and recovery setups, like you can see coming up here. VWAP resistance broken and then turned into support, and below that as well, high volume node, we broke below, and then we came up, retested VWAP and started holding on a retest and on any further retest here. Again, big news day is not really a days that I really enjoy trading a lot, just because it's very unpredictable. You can see a lot of the levels that I have were, pretty respected, but still it's going to flush, it's going to wick through things before pulling back and retracing, etc. Okay, so going into tomorrow, everything is looking pretty bullish. So again, NASDAQ, we're focusing on this node here. So we're looking at the top range of the node as the first major area of support, followed by the hourly level there, and then into the bottom edge area. And for ES, same thing. This is the line in the sand level, but ideally we hold into the hourly or this low volume node cuts here for a new shot at an all-time high target into tomorrow. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you're having a great night, and talk to you soon.